You gonna join us, kitten? Take it away.
What's up, YouTube? Like that. Oh, I've scared the
You
cat.
scared Audrey away. Ah, Audrey, do you want to come and hang out?
Isn't that how you start all of your videos?
Well, can be going forward, I guess. I'm just going to use that clip. Well, shall I put Audrey's thing to the side? I'll put it here just in case.
She'll come back.
Yeah, hello. This is episode 100 of what has been my sort of knitting podcast.
Sort of.
Sort of. There's been other episodes, but 100 official, like, knitwear only episodes talking about knitwear and what I have knitting plans wise. And I thought it'd be fun to bring husband back. For those that you haven't met, this is Alex.
Hey everyone.
Hello everyone. And yeah, we're going to talk about knitting. Alex apparently has got some questions for me, and there are some for both of us that have been asked by lovely knitters from across the world. It's very cool. I won't talk about my knitwear. Do you think?
Yeah, do talk about your knitwear.
I'm wearing more than I thought I would wear.
Well, it's at episode 100, so you have to make it an actual episode, right?
I guess, yeah. Let's do that then. I'll talk about what I'm wearing first because most of this has been seen before. And then we'll get into Alex's, which for the eagled eyes of you will notice that they are brand new off the needles. So I have my Garthenor socks on. I'd be wrong not to share them. They're probably really a bit covered in dust right now because of the floor. But we've moved everything around. So these are my socks, which are called the Basic Integrated Heel Socks, I believe, from Albiona McLaughlin, who used to go as LB Hand Knits. Really, really good pattern. It's a lovely integrated heel that you knit top up or bottom down, both ways are included. It's no nylon sock yarn. I really enjoy these ones, especially for walking. They seem to be really hard wearing. They're felted slightly, but that seems to have only made them stronger. So they're great. I am wearing my Pure Mesh pullover by James N. Watts, something that I wear quite a lot. And I'm hoping to actually replace my two black ones in the new year because they haven't lasted quite as well as this. And this one is alpaca and silk from Hobby. And I think the addition of silk just makes it that much stronger and that much more hard wearing for something that is so meshy. Great pattern. It's a top down seams jumper. I think it's aesthetically pleasing, but if you're not into this look, but you are in the market, as you say, for warm thermal layers, this makes a huge difference. I've been wearing it under everything, and actually right now I'm really warm. And then this one is a newly finished object, and I have not blocked it because I have worn it again quite a lot since I finished it. This is the Big Love from Agstrick, I believe, from memory. I knit it in the smallest size and used Rowwork yarn. It has, the collar is integrated into the pattern. It is quite a clever construction. You pick up at the back of the neck and then you knit the collar out, pick up stitches as you go, and then work the front and back, and then you join the side pieces, knit back and forth, and then knit the sleeves. I'm really happy with it. I used every single inch of yarn to do this one, and I think the sleeves are going to lengthen a little bit. I'm kind of hoping they don't lengthen too much because they're kind of perfect for me right now. But I don't think I did any modifications apart from the rate of decreases for the arms from memory. But this is one of my favourite ever yarns, Rowwork DK, and I think it's in the graphic colour. So it's an undyed natural wool. And I tell you what, it's a big cosy hug.
You got halfway through knitting this one and you said, I'm not sure if I'm going to wear it, and you haven't taken it off.
Yeah, I felt like the texture was a bit not me, but actually Yeah, it is, and it goes with everything in my wardrobe. This skirt that I've actually recently re-dyed black because it was almost this colour grey. I wear all the time. But yeah, it goes with all my band t-shirts. It lays over everything and even fits underneath my coats quite nicely, which I didn't expect because of the collar. But the collar adds so much warmth when you are out in the cold, which we've been trying to do. Are you gonna come up? She's got the zoomies. Come here. Do you want to cuddle? No, I'm just going to stare at you. Yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I did do that quite quickly, and I will, I'm sure, talk about this more in the future. At a slightly slower pace, but I really enjoyed knitting it.
How long did it take you?
A little bit longer than it kind of normally would, I would say, but that was because I was gift knitting and those sort of things, and I really wanted to spend time with this yarn and just do it slowly, which, yeah, mostly over Christmas is when I did it.
Maybe on the drive to...
Didn't do that much in the car. It was a bit car things. I was a bit focusing on the car, but yeah, I did. I've just really enjoyed the process, and I would like to continue to use raw work yarn again in the future because I don't know. You can feel the love and the bounce in it. It's a very bouncy yarn.
It is a bouncy yarn.
Very warm. Yeah, do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah, from one quick knitting project to another.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this jumper, which has been on needles for 2 years or more.
I think
I started it at the beginning of lockdown.
I think you ordered the yarn for your birthday that year. So
2020.
I think February of that year was when you cast on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
So I knitted it basically to the collar, almost. Didn't quite finish the cabling, but the cabling took me a long time because I can only really find time to knit in an evening, usually if there's like a film on or something, and it's quite complicated. And then, well, actually it wasn't complicated, it's very simple.
But it was a bit of a challenge because there was 5 charts.
Exactly, and the way that they go, the middle ones repeat at a different rate of the ones on the side, so it was it was fairly simple. If you were to sit and just look at the sheet of paper and not be staring at a Marvel film at the same time, it would probably be quite easy. But yeah, it took me a long time to get to here, and then I realised in that amount of time that I maybe put on a bit of weight and probably chosen too small of a size, and it was never going to fit me, was it? So out it came, ripped it all out. Started from the beginning again, and then Kat has knitted it for me for my Christmas present.
It still took me a bit longer than it could have.
Yeah.
To knit. Oh. Hello. Do you need to come up?
I think I'm like everyone, an unusual size, not a kind of. I think the set size is typically something will need to be altered for me. So it's been a little bit of trial and error, hasn't it? And actually, if we did have a bit more yarn, we used every last bit of yarn on this, I probably would have done it slightly longer, but it's still perfectly fine. It's very comfortable, and I've worn it quite a lot over Christmas.
You have. I wonder if it will grow a little bit more too in the length. But I might just order you another ball at some point and just do it so it's done for you and it can be finished forever. But it was a bottom up jumper. So you start from the body.
Oh, this is interesting.
All my hair's in it.
You can tell how long it's taken because there's a green hair there, and your hair hasn't been dyed green for quite some time.
A couple of
Good
months.
few months, yeah.
I'd quite like to go green again.
I'm sure everyone else has similar things where they find pet hairs.
Yeah, pets' hairs that aren't their pets. But I ripped out the sleeve once I had done half of a sleeve maybe. Because of the adjustments, I didn't adjust particularly what size I did. So I knitted it actually on a larger needle than recommended from pattern, which is unusual for me because I did think I was a loose knitter, and my gauge used to sit really in line with Kate Davies when I started knitting, or a lot closer. Now I've got a bit tighter, but I went up a needle size and we went down a pattern size, but then for the sleeve I stayed at the same needle size but went down another size. So no, I went up one size on the needle and up one size on the body, and then I went down one size that I knitted in the instructions on the arm but kept the needle size the same. Don't make that. I know that was confusing the way I said that first, but that seems to give you a much better fit on the arm.
Yeah.
I really like
it. It's merino, isn't it? It's Ulysses Merino from France. Can't remember the name of the company. It's so long ago since I ordered it.
De Rerum Natura?
Oh yes.
Come on, you. Alex's Christmas gift is Audrey's Christmas gift. Yeah. But yeah, we're hoping to. Well, I'm hoping to work with Alex. To create with Alex a Gansey based on sort of his heritage. So using the Gansey source book that I've got to create a pattern specifically for him that hopefully will fit him really well. Maybe not first off, I don't mind reknitting it, but using traditional Gansey yarn. Then you can choose which cables and...
This isn't really a Gansey, this is like a...
It's a modern take on it.
Like a faux Gansey. But this is very good because this is something I can just wear to work and it's kind of smart.
Yeah, Alex was saying initially that he didn't really feel like a Gansey was useful in his wardrobe because it might be too warm.
Yeah.
But after that cold spell we had,
yeah, I know.
You could have really done with it.
Really done with it. Going to work in -7 or whatever it was.
And I think where we spend a lot of time outdoors, having one thick jumper that you can then just put your rain jacket over the top of, you'll be like almost in all weather that we would possibly get here. Unless you're like right up in Scotland, you wouldn't need to take anything with you, you know. I think I'm gonna fall asleep too.
Wonder if the microphone's picking up the purring. Maybe.
Yeah, a little bit. You can all fall asleep with us. And you have finished another option.
I've finished my hat, which again has taken me a long time. So we went to Whistlebear, where we were working with the goats for a week during shearing time. Which was an amazing experience, and I picked up some yarn when I was there. So they're two different kinds, both in the same colour, Cheviot Marsh and Yevering Bell, and I've held them together to knit this beanie hat. It's just a straightforward beanie hat, but it's twice as long as I've ever knitted one, so it's got 2 folds. Make it a bit extra warm in the winter, I think. Yeah, I enjoyed knitting it. Again, it was a films and TV shows, and we don't actually watch that much film or TV, so it took the best part of a year to knit it really. But I mean, I probably only knitted on it 10 or 15 times in that whole...
There was long gaps, especially over the summer.
It's been the busiest year for us in terms of not really having time at home this year that I've ever experienced, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm sure a lot of people have had the same experience where all the things that had been cancelled, weddings, events, all kind of came in at once.
Very busy year.
Very busy year.
Yeah. And we're not gonna do that this year, are we?
No.
Hopefully. It would be so nice to be doing things, but just... And I don't know whether it was just a bit overwhelming given how you couldn't do as much years before. But I do think we got a lot of good stuff in.
Yeah. Even you haven't knitted as much this year, have you?
No, that was sort of an active choice, but then partially not when it came down to it.
Yeah.
I wanted to reduce my knitting, and not because I don't love it and I didn't want to, but because I wanted to find a new balance. After all that time of being sort of unwell and not able to do other things, I was relying on knitting for the downtimes. It was almost not a crux, what would you say? A crutch.
Crutch, yeah.
But that balance has gone, it's come back, and I think it actually gave me time to really reflect on what I really want to add to my wardrobe, what I really want to do in terms of knitting, and how I want to continue to approach it. And it has... I don't think that the ideas have changed, but what the outcomes of those ideas are slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want a question?
Questions.
We do questions?
Question time.
I think I screenshotted the ones that I saw and then have sent them to Alex. So you can choose, and you can choose which ones.
I will. I'm going to read every single one.
You can. Some of them might be
not many.
Repeats.
Okay, so just getting clawed by the cat.
Oh,
the first question is actually directed at me.
Yeah.
Do we want to read out the people's names, or should we not, just in case they don't want us to?
I don't know.
Difficult to know.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Well, anyway, I won't then, just in case. What's Alex thinking for his next knitting project?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, I've been sent some sock yarn in a Christmas advent calendar that Kat received as like a little bonus. So probably is going to be another pair of socks, because I mean, let's face it, once you hand knitted socks, it's kind of hard to go back, isn't it? So I kind of need to build up my stocks of them, so I've at least got a pair for each day of the week. So yeah, it's going to be some socks, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were saying that you're not sure if you want to dye it.
I might dye the yarn. Yeah, it's a very nice grey yarn, but I think I might want to kind of dye it so it's got a bit of variation in it, because it's more interesting to knit it then, and you can sort of see how you're getting on.
I wondered if we should try dyeing the plant matter and rolling it and steaming it.
Do something unusual with it, maybe. Yeah.
Or even we could get you some indigo.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's called sashika. I can't remember the name, but that style of dyeing instead.
Yeah. What is your favourite fibre content? Does that mean what fibre do you like in terms of to knit with? Or does that mean what is your favourite social media content fibre related? What do you think?
Oh, yeah.
It must mean like...
I would say yarn.
Like breakdown of yarn fibre,
But
yeah.
I would say. But
It's obviously mohair, isn't it? Blended or not.
I really love mohair. Mohair with silk because of the strength and the longevity it has. I was reflecting a lot, and I wear my alpaca silk items, but the difference in how they wear is really stark, and I really appreciate that for lots of people they can't wear mohair and they don't like it for various reasons, but for me, it feels good. Obviously, with things like Whistlebear, I've seen it, and you can't say no to them.
How many people do you think don't knit with mohair because they remember what mohair once was?
In the 80s.
I mean, I tried on a mohair jumper when I was a kid that had been from the 80s and remembered it being kind of itchy, scratchy. And then I obviously have been around you with the softest mohair that you can imagine, and it's such a different thing, isn't it? And I wonder if people got put off a long time ago and then never really tried again.
Yeah, and
obviously there'll be other reasons, but
yeah, some people are allergic, but then some people are very allergic to alpaca or wool. Yeah, they never used to. Well, say never used to. The vintage wools that I have used that have mohair have all been spun with wool, which I do really like actually, and I would almost prefer that in a way, but that does take away from the softness of the mohair, and you can tell that they weren't using the fine mohair that we are kind of quite accustomed to now. Like, I think the harsher stuff is great and should be used in socks like that 100%. Your feet aren't gonna,
and you can be used for everything, like chair covers.
But
in terms of wearing,
and then there's lots of other fibres that I love.
We've never tried muskox yet.
I looked at that again.
When we win the lottery, we're gonna get some. When we win the lottery and need an Arctic adventure.
Imagine. We went to the Southern? No, not the Southern Wool Show. Unravel. In Kent, I believe. Is it Kent? It's that area. It's down south a little bit. We went around and we bumped into Millie of Tribe Yarns, and she was playing with this cow and was like, "Oh yeah, actually you should feel this." And I couldn't say anything, and I was just like, "Alex, you need to feel this." And then she explained about it, and she was like, "Yeah, you only need one ball for one skein for a cowl or something." And she's like talking about it, and I was like, "Yeah, but we need to know how much it costs because there's no way that that's affordable." And it's reasonable for like when you consider what it is.
I think they harvest it from like sticks, like twigs or the ground, the grass. They just pick it up, don't they?
A bit like truffle hunting.
Yeah, it's kind of discarded rather than harvested from the animal itself.
Imagine the process that would take. I think it was about £100 per skein.
It was something nearly like that, yeah.
I can't remember if it was a full 100 gram or not, but it was beautiful.
And it was described as being like too insulating to even wear unless you're somewhere really cold anyway. So kind of pointless, but
would be lovely.
Very interesting nonetheless.
Out in Aberdeen, somewhere like that. But yeah, I guess mohair is probably the thing. But I do love my Jacob. I do love my Icelandic. BFL I think's underrated, though it's starting to rise in popularity.
Well, not to be
Nitpicky.
negative, but nitpicky. What's your least favourite fibre to work with?
Nylon.
Nylon, yeah.
Superwash merino with nylon is probably my least favourite. But nylon just doesn't feel good to me. And I recently, I didn't take any video or footage, but I recently knitted the knitting part of a clanger for one of my best friend's daughters, and...
Do you need to explain clanger?
Maybe?
British TV show from way back when about weird little creatures that live on a moon in space.
And they whistle.
They whistle, and there's a mechanical chicken that also lives on the moon with them.
I forgot about that.
Very strange.
This is great. But I think they are actually knitted in the animation. I might be wrong. I think they are.
But they certainly are, yeah.
But my lovely friend Beth wasn't sure and ended up buying acrylic, which is absolutely fine, and I used it and perfect for the little one. But I was like, "Are you sure you don't want me to buy you some cotton?" She's like, "No, it's fine." And that was not the funnest thing to knit with. I've got quite sensitive to cotton wool balls. I don't mind the pad things so much because they don't catch.
The squeaky sound.
No, it's the feeling when it catches on your nails, and for some reason acrylic does the same thing.
Okay.
And it might be the squeakiness. And I did knit it using wooden needles, which didn't help. Yeah, making me feel a bit like.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Okay, another question. You ready for another one?
Yeah. Oh,
But this is for me.
Yeah, more for you. There's only 17 minutes on there. It's fine, we'll put another doodah in if we need to.
What do you like the most about Cat, knitting related? Did you ask people to send me questions too, so I could give you compliments? Or?
No, you can do my least favourite too.
It's amazing that Kat will just try anything knitting related. She will just go for it. I've never known Kat to think, "Oh, that's too much for me." I mean, I had a question which I was going to ask you. Do you now feel that there's any knitting pattern that you would look at and think, "Oh, that's too much for me to tackle"? Or do you think that you could work your way through anything now?
Yeah, I don't think there would be anything. Intarsia doesn't particularly inspire me, so I would probably try and figure out a way of not doing it. So Intarsia, you tend to have a bobbin or work from 8 different balls of yarn, and you're twisting the yarns so that you can have big long gaps.
Yeah.
But that doesn't... Those sort of patterns anyway don't usually make my heart sing.
Yes.
I'm quite... yet. But I know that some of the patterns from the Knitting Wildlife book that I really am excited to knit from, but...
They're quite hard, complicated, or...
No, again, I'm not intimidated by them. Actually, that's to do with not having the yarn and one... Because a lot of them use a lot more yarn than what I'm used to, and a lot of them are bigger sizes, which I'd have to navigate because the chart's almost sized charts rather than...
So do you see knitting as more of a, reading a recipe to cook something, rather than looking at, say, a musical instrument and thinking, okay, I'm going to learn Wonderwall, but I'm not going to even look at a Jimi Hendrix solo because I'm not going to be able to do that?
No, I think it's more, I really like that outcome, or
how can I achieve that?
I like the idea, so I'll either knit it exactly like it because that's exactly perfect, or go, I like that idea, but actually...
Or you go your own way.
Yeah, I go, that's really, I'm going there.
Did that answer the question? I think the ability to do that, I think a lot of people, including myself, can feel intimidated by things they don't know how to do yet, whereas Kat will just go, I'm going to do that, and then cross whatever bridge I come to. Maybe there'll be some swearing involved, but she'll get there in the end.
Only jovial swearing. It's not true.
What kind of patterns fill you with the most joy?
I saw this question, and I couldn't help but think that it's the things that are slightly rebellious in me, like the ones that get that little spark going, make me the happiest. Like this, like it's just not a standard. You don't think, oh, I'm going to knit a jumper, and if you tell someone you're going to knit a jumper, that's not what they expect.
Well, yeah, I mean, like even things like crop tops or vest tops, you don't, as a non-knitter, you wouldn't think, I'm going to go knit something, and then you wouldn't even think about like a vest top as being something that someone would knit. I certainly wouldn't. You know, you think hats, gloves, scarves, jumpers, socks. But actually, people knitting shorts, they're knitting vests, they're knitting... I'm hopefully going to get a knitted hoodie one day.
Is that your favourite thing about
Maybe that's my next project to do myself, to be honest.
That could be fun.
It'd be a long-term one, but...
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think, ones that... The ones that spark the most joy are the slightly... that have the right balance for me of paying attention and long-term entertainment, or just purely like a bit out there and a bit that match my mood and personality. I think is the
someone's asked about your crafting goals for the year and also gave some love to little Audrey. But I don't know, did you want to talk about your goals for the year in this one? Is that something that you would have done anyway?
I don't think I have. But this is actually an odd year in that I'm not even thinking about it too much. I know that I've got a couple of things I have to knit, which are very exciting. I can't really talk about yet. Just three items that will be out in the next year. Not privately, because I'll tell you about them. But other than that, I just want to really work on trying other crafts. Like I got into a bit of a rabbit hole with your mum over Christmas, talking about chainmail, and I'd love to try and do it what I imagine to be my cheat way that's just come from my head, that would be how most people would just go and do it. And then I'd quite like to go and do a course, even if it's just like a 4-hour session, and have someone actually talk about it and why they would have done it certain ways. But they're the sort of things I'd like to do this year, and to continue to be a bit more playful with knitting. Like I think I've just started this sock, but I think I would like to pick up my fern cosplay and get that finished, because I've actually done quite a lot on that. And it's like, considering I've not really spent time with it, but yeah, more of that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And not allowing I don't have a goal that I need to do. The goal for me is actually to do what really makes me happy, rather than what I feel like I need to do. Which is why adjusting, hopefully, the format, which won't change too much, but having the 1 week talking about what I've been knitting, and then 1 week, hopefully, talking about maybe just one knitting project in depth, or another type of craft, basket weaving as well.
And this is really just to get your creative juices flowing more, isn't it? And
to keep...
It's one of the most important things you can do in life, really.
Yeah, keep falling in love with it.
Yeah.
Learning, evolving. Now bending is one thing I'd really like to do this year. I thought I'd do it for the last 2 years, and it's just been... Yeah. Lots of crafting, but not...
Maybe some blacksmithing.
Oh, yeah, I would say that I'd love to try blacksmithing.
Make a sword or something, that would be fun.
And I'd really like to do more whittling. Like I really love, like woodwork is one of my favourites. But now my dad's gone, it's a bit harder to do anything, and then
you don't really have the space for it, do you?
Yeah, and tools and things, but I imagine a lot more just try with what we've got. Projects will happen.
I'd like to do some more pottery.
I would love to see you doing that. And I'd like to do some too, but Alex is the award winner.
I did win an award for a cup. It was a complete fluke. This is an interesting one. You talked about your style evolution. You did talk about your style evolution.
Yeah.
I find that's a constant since forever with you, isn't it? You've always changed.
Yeah, well, no. I
mean, when I met you, you were dressed in like the 1940s.
Psychobilly and rockabilly.
Or a land girl, or yeah. I think people do, but you always it's always you. It has your spin on it, which is always you. It's not like you're playing dress up. To me, it's just it's you, but
wearing
influences. It's a new influence, yeah. Did Alex's style also change? No.
Yes and no.
I've been wearing the same clothing, and give or take, for 20 plus years.
Yeah. Well, I have seen different parts in different. You are getting braver.
Yeah.
Alex has got a leopard print shirt and it's very good, but the first few times it took you a little bit of courage, didn't it, to wear it?
Not really.
Just a little. You're like, is this right?
It's a party shirt.
It is a party shirt.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't. My style didn't change from probably being 11 years old through to 18, and then I suddenly was like, oh. I think there was a lot of me. There was a lot of I don't want to wear dresses. I don't understand why I'd want to wear a skirt. And then I grew up a bit and was like, I can wear all these things and change not just my appearance but the way people react to me. Which is wild.
Here's another question. What makes someone knitworthy?
Ooh, that's a good question. Their energy.
Good energy.
Good energy.
And are there levels to be? This is just me asking you, but I guess there's levels to knitworthiness, isn't there? Because this throwaway sitting on now is obviously a huge project, and that was a wedding gift. You're not doing that for an acquaintance's birthday party. It's just not feasible to do that because you couldn't do that for everyone. So I guess there's kind of... Is it loud?
Just don't make my life hard.
Editing out the sound of... This is Fibre related. This is a Fibre sound.
You ask everyone if you like the Fibre sound while you're trying to talk. Okay.
Okay.
Levels of knitworthiness.
Yeah.
I think the whole knitworthy thing needs to go.
Yeah.
Because in most everyone is really anyone should and could have. However, I do think it's very sad if you're going to give something to someone knowing that they're not going to appreciate it and appreciate the work that's gone into it. And I know that I've given quite a lot of gifts, and I don't. There's no like regret or like about it. But I've given quite a lot of things away, knowing that there won't be that understanding. Like you can get excited and be like, this yarn has come all the way from New York. It's been hand dyed with a plant that they've personally grown in their garden. They've sent it over here very kindly, and then I've spent 10 hours making it to give it, and then it kind of be like...
Sometimes if you knit a pair of socks and they look too perfect, they might not even understand that they're... You might want to just drop some stitches here and there just to make it seem a bit more handmade sometimes.
But I don't...
Get me to do it.
Yeah, I think it's everyone's knitworthy if you're willing, but also you just want to do the best that you can to let people know, not necessarily how much time and all of that, but actually how to care for it so they get the enjoyment from it. Because a lot of things that we'll pass forward could last for generations if cared for.
Yeah.
They won't last very long if they go in the washing machine at 60 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good question, and I think it's a bit of a... I feel like the phrase knitworthy is starting to feel a little bit icky in a way, but also it's something that if you're going to do
I don't know, it's a nice thing.
It is if you are, but if you're telling someone that they're not, then it feels icky. But I think, yeah, it's something that is very personal, and for me, anyone that's in my immediate family is knitworthy, whether they understand it or not. You are incredibly knitworthy,
and you've done a lot of knitting for people who aren't related to you.
Oh yeah, and I would continue to do that.
Okay, I've got a question. Have you knitted more projects for yourself or projects to be given away?
Oh, for me.
Yeah.
I would say. I've done that when I start to think about it, I've probably done more than I think for giving away. But only because I've made quite a lot of like the little vest tops that I wear almost every day for myself. Things like that.
But you've knitted at least a pair of socks or a hat for almost every member of our family and
oh yeah, the first
friends of ours too.
The first or second year I did 7 Christmas jumpers.
Yeah.
I did one for all my family.
Yeah, you did.
Beth,
wow, yeah.
Flynn. No, and Finn. So Flynn and Finn both got them. But yeah, I like to knit for other people, and I think I would more. There's a lot of constraints which I think help my creativity. Finances being one. I have to be careful with what I'm buying for who, what I'm using for who. And like, you know, as much as it'd be really nice to be like, here you go, XYZ, here's a whistlebed jumper. I'm not gonna do that. If I did like for you, I'd go, oh, you'll appreciate it, you'll understand. You also know how to look after it. I would do that, but
yeah.
And then it's like, oh, but I actually don't want to use X, Y, and Z yarn, so that wipes that idea off the table quite a lot for me. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just finances, it's like meeting people's ethics and all of those things, and how much fun. Like, I'm not gonna have too much fun if all I ever did was raglan jumpers for friends or so like
hats quite quick and good.
Oh, I like a hat. I'm saying about that there's like a, even though stockinette's nice and relaxing and easy, knitting, ribbing is just a touch more stimulating for me now, so I can do it for a bit longer without getting...
Can we say that, so if we take this hat as an example, that for every hour you spend knitting, I take 1 month? Maybe this is just 10 months, and maybe the last hat you knitted was 10 hours.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It's not terrible.
Yeah, it is terrible.
It's not, because I just I do it more, like that hour that you're commuting, or 2 hours you're commuting, one of those hours I will try and knit, whether that's from 6 till 7 in the morning, or 7 till 8, or, you know, half an hour at lunchtime and half an hour in the evening, whereas you get...
Maybe my goal might actually be to knit more on the trains this year.
Yeah. That's a good goal, actually.
Cut? Do you need to click it for the battery?
We can
action.
get you a, like a pair of socks on the go. You do have quite a bit of yarn for socks. Like you've got the one you picked up in Perth with the...
I have got a whistle bear sock project on needles that has cable work in it. It's the Meandering Monk, I think it's called.
Yeah, you do.
Which I will pick that up again, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit not risky, but it's one of those projects that you might need help with. So you might take it, get 2 rounds and then be stuck. But
yeah.
I think you're reading knitting now, so you can actually, you understand when something's awry, whether you understand fully what it is every time. But
I can usually tell what I've done wrong.
Yeah.
I just sometimes need a bit of help fixing it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'll be like, there's something off here, and it's like, it might be as simple as you picked up in between the bar, but you barely needed help with that one.
Right, a few more emergency questions.
Emergency
on
ones.
my notebook.
So no.
I just wrote a few questions just in case there wasn't questions enough to fill up the time, but it looks like we did anyway. How are you?
Oh.
How is your health? How is everything?
Cushy.
Good?
No. Yeah. A lot more in balance.
Yeah, you seem it.
I think.
Yeah.
A lot better. A lot more energy generally.
It's been a few rocky patches in the last year, health-wise, both of us, but so far so good this year.
Wow, we've only had 36 hours of this year. But yeah.
Yes, and already needed to replace a telephone and a laptop.
Yeah, well, the laptop hasn't been.
It's going to have to wait, I think. But less said about that, the better.
But how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Sat on the sofa at home, it's great.
We have been with family and friends, which has been really nice. But yesterday was the first evening we had on our own since...
Yeah, since Christmas Eve. No,
Well,
the
no,
day before
day
Christmas
before.
Eve, yeah. And it's now the 1st or the 2nd. It's the 2nd of January.
So it feels very quiet today.
It does feel very quiet today. I asked you the question already about, is there anything that you felt like was beyond you knitting wise? But you said there wasn't really.
Yeah, I think I would still be a little bit intimidated, even though I've done it enough now. Knitting for people not having their measurements, completely coming up with it myself. I'm just sort of guessing, but that I think is silly. But then it's hard to give gifts, surprise gifts, if you don't have the sizes. But yeah, I think that's kind of a different kettle of fish. That's more technical skill rather than knitting itself.
Yeah. What is a common misconception about you, other than your name, which is a self-inflicted problem of yours? Not a problem.
It's changed now.
Yeah, it has.
Hopefully we'll get the Instagram handle in a few days. Common misconception.
Because I watch a lot of YouTube, and you often you spend a lot of time with the person if you're watching all their videos, and I get an idea of a person. Do you think there's any misconceptions?
That I never have fun. No. I think I've changed that this year. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything you think? Because you see, I know who I am, and I think I'm quite unashamedly myself when I'm at a good mental state.
Yeah.
I lose myself if I'm not. And I think that maybe that's the misconception.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No. I just wondered.
I probably listen to a lot more music than I go on about.
I think you go on about it. I think people get that idea. And you watch a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm sure people...
Yeah, everyone knows.
Everyone
say everyone. Anyone that's here.
They will know that, yeah. I already asked you, have you knitted more for yourself or for gifts? If you were to restart this whole YouTube journey and knitting journey, but I would think of it more as the YouTube and knitting rather than just the knitting, because it's become kind of a part and parcel thing now. What would you have done differently if you could go back and talk to yourself before you started the channel? What would you have told yourself as the biggest bit of advice?
Actually put knitting in the title and change it from Heather and Hops, because who knows what that is.
They're just two nice plants.
Well, I'm Heather and you're Hops,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
We love Scotland, we love plants. But I think...
It doesn't quite make sense.
Well...
It makes sense to us.
Yeah.
It doesn't make potentially sense to...
And I think I don't actually want... Like, I'd love to grow community-wise and become closer and be able to reach more people so that I can... because I find that those interactions spark my creativity. But I wouldn't want to change anything in terms of that. Like, I've really liked how I've grown and learned with people, you know. And now actually some people are at the point where I was, whether that's health related or knitting related or both, which seems to be the thing. I actually wish I was maybe a bit more open about my health, so that those people that are connecting for that reason got more of an insight.
Yeah.
But I don't think now I can add value by talking about my health, particularly because
and I think talking about slightly negative things like that, which it is for you, is, I guess it's cathartic, but it's also not necessarily the energy you want to put out there.
For me, that's not, and I don't want that. I want this. Because
that will end up coming back to you.
Yeah, I want the space to be nice, to have nice, wholesome conversations about moving forward, maybe, rather than. I don't think there's much that I would change.
Or questioned out. Got any questions for me?
What do you want me to cast on for you?
Got enough on your plate.
I don't know. Don't know that if I've got any questions for you. Was there any that you missed?
No. Are we going to insert some nice silky nature shots into the edit after this video? I'm sure we got some from the beach.
Yeah, I could put that in. Nice. I didn't take too much film. I did a little bit of filming when we were away, but not too much. It just kind of was there, which was really nice. I think I'm going to look at recording my jumper video, sort of a review of the jumpers in my wardrobe. Maybe actually talking about ones that I'm going to get rid of and why, because I think there's not necessarily, I'm not going to chuck them, but give them to people or take them to the charity shop. But there's definitely things that at the time served me well, but don't anymore. And whilst I think, oh yeah, it might be nice and I might wear it in the future, I think actually I'm better off going, I'm going to rip this out, I'm going to reuse this yarn, or I'm going to give this to a forever home.
Yeah. You usually give them to friends or friends' children, actually.
Friends' children. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to put one of them in the charity shop around the corner and see what they price it up as. I
was joking, but a couple of years ago, I did take quite a bit to the charity shop,
Yeah.
and I did see someone walking around in an entire outfit that was mine, and that it wasn't like it just like, you know, I was
It's
like, am I
nice.
having an out of body experience? That's how I felt. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like, oh wow, she's wearing my outfit. It was just suddenly I
It
looked
was
down.
like,
I was like, oh no.
homemade jumper and culottes or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was just like, oh, yeah. And also I will do a video now that everyone's received them, apart from Mary, who has probably guessed that she has a hand knitted bag and a few other things. I will share the process of making all my D&D players and Dungeon Master little Christmas gifts that I'm quite pleased with the results of.
And they all made it.
Yeah.
Almost.
They were Christmas gifts.
Saying
not Christmas.
something at the moment, isn't
Yeah.
it?
They were for a Merry Christmas, just for funsies. But they did make it from Canada, to America, and to Italy.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have our lovely friends from Bristol come visit us, or vice versa, so
That'd
they can
be
have
nice.
theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything.
Is
I
that
mean,
it?
yeah. What do you want for dinner?
Food.
We won't leave you.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic 2023.
Wow. No one likes you when you're 23, though.
Um,
Yeah. Happy?
Happy.
Happy with that.
Now you have to say, smash that like button and ring the bell.
I'm going to leave that in, and that'll be the first and only time that's ever said on this channel. I promise. Unless he's back again and he thinks it's funny. You should have your own channel.
No, I shouldn't.
Or you should be on here more.
I'll be back. Episode 200 is just around the corner.
Oh, that's 4 years away. 3 years away. I think it's been 4 years that I've knitted.
Yeah. 25 a year. It's got to be more than that. You do all the bonus ones, and then life happens and they don't get made. Because life does happen a lot.
I think this year was the first time I had a few weeks off in a while. Not health related, and I needed it. But I think I've been pretty consistent, which is wild, because I felt like I was going to start taking more time off, but I just like talking to you. So I do, rather than not. You're alright too. I should put your little picture where the flash is, so I can just talk to you too. Yeah. Spend more time with you in the week. Is that in one of your goals too, is to take your holiday?
Yes. Take some holiday from work. I've never done it. I've never taken my allotted holiday from work, so I should this year.
Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah.
Anything else we've got to say?
Big waves.
Be excellent to each other. Yes, it is sort of a quote, isn't it? Be excellent to each other.
It's definitely a quote.
Someone asked if I realised, but it is. I didn't mean to always use it, but it's what my family always say to each other.
Bill and Ted was one of my most watched films ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to dance with the devil.
Do we just keep saying goodbye?
Yeah.
Keep going.
But no, I wanted to say, because it was...
If you made it this far, I hope you have a lovely year, and Kat and possibly myself will see you again very soon.
Hopefully.
Stroke a cat. Eat some nice food.
Hydrate.
Roast potatoes.
Ah.
Drink lots of water. And be good to each other.
Yeah, don't forget to love each other. Hope to see you again very soon.
Go out. lot of them dress as women.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.